Hello, everybody. Welcome to another special edition of Sapo Studios. We are live here in Burbank, California. You got your boy Dave with my very good friend Dave.
Yeah, what's going on?
We are the Daves.
That's right, and we're both Dave G. Isn't that funny? We've got a very special guest in studio, as Dave loves to say, because all of our guests are very special. Please welcome Keyawna Nikole. Hello, Keyawna.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hi,
welcome,
guys.
welcome.
Thank you so much for being with us. This is
Of course.
awesome.
You got me up before 1 p.m. This is a rarity.
You've made the trek here.
I'm
Not very far.
It was a journey.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that surprises me that you don't get up till after 1 because you seem like someone that has such drive and hustle. I guess it all happens after 1.
It
huh?
all happens after 1 p.m.
You
It takes
put-
a long time
Yeah.
to get ready, you know.
Yeah.
It's a minute.
This doesn't just happen.
No.
No,
This is a work of art.
Right. This is premeditated. All right. So I was reading a little bit about you. I don't know how much of the stuff on the internet is actually true or not, but we're gonna go through it. We're gonna see. We're gonna find out, right? Ooh, exciting.
There's so much
Well,
stuff
because
on the
we
internet.
had such an interesting conversation when I met you at a studio you work out of, which we'll get to that. And just the conversation, you were so open in that moment. We had only met a couple times, but your story is so fascinating and I think
Thank you.
inspiring to other artists that like more people should hear. And I think it's important for someone like yourself to share that, to inspire the next up and coming artists, you know?
That's the goal.
Absolutely. So you were writing songs as early as 4th grade.
Yes.
Did you come from a musical family? Were you just an anomaly that like, oh, I'm a songwriter, 4th grade, no big
So-
deal?
My dad was somebody that just loved to sing, and he was always singing, and he loved music, had a passion for music. And my mom was more of a sports person. So I was pushed into a lot of sports mainly, but I found my creative outlet was I just love to write music. I love to write songs. I was taking cardboard, like, you know, the little like colored paper. I was cutting that up and making my own little song books and all of that by 4th grade and writing poems. And I just knew that's what I wanted to do.
Were you playing any sort of an instrument as a kid, or was this all just lyric based?
My first instrument, I begged my mom to let me join the school band, and because those instruments are expensive, so it was a lot of begging. But I begged my mom to let me join the school band. So in 4th grade, I started playing the alto saxophone, and that was like my first I love music.
Yeah.
I love music.
Do you remember why you picked the alto sax? I mean, I
because
know
it was bigger than me.
because it was
I
bigger than
wanted
you.
to play a big instrument.
so that you could look like a badass, or what was that?
I don't know what the thought process was in 4th grade because I had to carry that instrument home.
Right.
But
Not a very practical.
it was
decision.
really too our school was really small. When I was in elementary school, I was in a very small town at the time, and we didn't have anyone else playing alto, so it was just me. So in my head, it was like, this is my star moment, you know? Like, this is the concert, the Christmas concert, and I'm the only saxophone. I get all the solos.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thought process.
So going in, I mean, obviously we all have this idea that like the minute we pick some instrument up, it's going to be amazing and it's
Oh,
all
yeah.
going to connect. Like, was it a major letdown when you had to actually learn how to play it?
Absolutely. It broke my heart.
Yeah.
Because, like, I still live with the one screech in my Christmas 2008 choir concert, and I screeched, and it still haunts me today.
Listen, I was in high school in a musical and I forgot song lyrics, and because it was an original musical, nobody knew, but I will forever know
I
that
will
I've missed
always
those
know.
lyrics.
I missed it, and it haunts me at
That's
night.
right. That's right. So you were bouncing back and forth between Pennsylvania and Tennessee, right?
Yes.
Because your parents weren't together and they had
Yes.
joint custody. That's a big distance to travel. So were you in one place for a couple years, another place for a couple years? How did that work?
I mainly had lived with my mom in Pennsylvania, and I would visit my dad over Christmas in the summer. And then when I turned 15, I had to unwillingly live with my father in a very Christian household.
Oh boy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot. And at the time I was 15, I'd already been going to like Pierce the Veil concerts and Sleeping with Sirens concerts. I already knew in my head like the direction of what I loved, the music I loved, what I related to, and my dad in their religious household was not okay with that. So
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about the Pierce the Veil thing because you
Yeah.
went when you were 13. You wind up meeting Vic Fuentes,
I
and he
did.
says you're going to be a rock star.
he did.
Now, like that was someone that you idolized at that point. So
Still do today.
that just set everything in motion for you, huh?
That was genuinely that moment in my life I still go back to. I carried that concert ticket with me when I moved out here. I have a scrapbook from that concert that I brought with me when I brought myself out here, and that was my sole motivation. I used to keep the concert ticket from that show in the back of my phone as like a good luck charm. And
Sort of manifesting.
Well, it's so interesting because it's like it seems like there's obstacles in the way of you like pursuing this dream that you have. So like it's your will that drove you through. How did you like figure that out? And even at home, you know.
No, I call it genuine delusion. There's just like you have to be delusional enough to know that this is going to work for you, because every obstacle was against me. I have had no connections in the music industry. I didn't even know anyone in the state of California when I came here.
And then you get those little nods of recognition from the universe, or like
the universe acknowledges that you're working hard. Like before anybody was even like really supporting me, I got reached out to on Instagram 10 years later by Vic Fuentes again. And at that point, I was like, this is a sign. Like, the universe is working in my favor. Like,
and I want to get to that, but sequentially, I'm just curious. So you left home when you were 19, right?
18.
18, okay. And when you left, in the bio, it said you were in college and you kind of decided this isn't for me and I need to pursue this dream. Was your mom freaking out?
I didn't tell her I left until I got here.
Oh, wow. Did she freak out then?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
what are you thinking?
It's fairly deep because I'd gotten offered like scholarships at like colleges of my dreams and out of state, stuff like that. Just academic. I was a really smart kid. I had a really great GPA.
You're still really smart.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. As a kid, I had it going though. Like my family was like, she's gonna be a doctor. Like it was gonna work. But I was getting offers, and my little sister has a very rare genetic disease called Eagle-Barrett syndrome. Only 2% of girls in our entire country have ever been acknowledged to even had it, and that's without survival. So it's very rare. So we had a lot going on with her. A couple years later, my brother ended up developing brain cancer. So my family, me leaving, was going to be very detrimental because I help my family. I help support my family. But waking up and realizing, do I want to do this forever? Do I only want to be able to support the people that need me and love me? Do I only want to be able to do that at the means of this area? And that was the realization I really had. So I just drove here.
That's amazing too, because that has
that's
self-confidence written all over it. Because to pursue a dream is one thing, but you have to really believe through and through that there's no question that you're going to make it if you have this idea that, well, I need to do this to support my family, because if I do it, it's going to happen, and that's going to be the way that I can, support them.
And it was even more genuinely on the fact that I felt this was the only thing that I was going to ever feel satisfied doing. So even when it wasn't working in my favor, even when I was starving and crying in my car at night, like, what am I doing? I could be at home in my bed. It still felt like, would I be at home in my bed? Would I be happy? I wouldn't. I'm way happier in that situation.
Okay, so take me back. Your mom doesn't know until you move out here that you've thrown the college thing aside and you're pursuing this music career. Now she knows you're out here. I'm sure the questions start coming. Where are you going to live? What are you going to do to survive until then? So what were these answers?
I told my mom I already had an apartment because I didn't want her to worry. I told her I already figured that out. I found an Airbnb. I figured out. We don't even have Airbnb in the town I'm from, so she didn't even know what that was. So she's like, okay, honey.
And had you been working a job while you were in college that, like, she knew you had some sort of a savings to do that, or she just was taking you at your word that you had figured some scheme out?
I came out here with a total whopping of $1,200. That $1,200 got total whopping stole from me within the first 15 minutes of me being in Los Angeles.
Wow.
You got held up?
I got robbed walking into a gas station within 15 minutes.
Welcome to LA.
Of me being in Los Angeles.
That's crazy.
Just to also find out I wasn't even old enough to buy backwoods because it's 21 and up over here and 18 over there. So I got robbed for no reason. I didn't even get to buy any.
Yeah, well, once you found that, it was like, well, I don't have money for him anyway.
So I guess it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But so as that being your first introduction to LA, were you like, shit, I really made a fucking mistake?
Shockingly, no. I was
Really?
like,
You doubled down and you're like, oh, you know what? This is real life.
I was like,
this is gonna go
this is
into a
real life.
song.
I need to understand that, like, you're not in Kansas anymore. Like, I'm not in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. I'm not in a place where everyone knows everybody, so no one's ever gonna try you, you know?
Right.
Because it's a small town. I'm in a real major city where I never saw that person ever again. And I hope that $1,200 helped you, sir. You needed it more than me, I could tell. But
Okay, so when you come out here, I know that you didn't have an apartment lined
No.
up. So what was the plan? Where exactly were you driving? Just somewhere?
I was
in
driving to Sunset Boulevard.
Just Sunset.
That's all I had in me. I was telling this story now makes me feel like, girl, what were you doing? But no, I came out here. I went to the Denny's on Sunset because it had Wi-Fi and I could reach the Wi-Fi from the outside in my car.
Your mom didn't know. Did anybody know?
No one knew I
not
was
a
homeless.
soul
I
knew
never
you were-
told anybody
Wow.
I was homeless. That was the big thing because no one's gonna respect me if
Right.
they see somebody that needs somewhere to live. They're going to be able to offer you the smallest amount of things for your creativity and what you're worth. I was well aware I was worth millions of dollars, but I just wasn't there yet.
No, I wasn't
Right.
even
You know?
thinking like people you interacted out here in a business capacity, but even just like maybe friends from home when you
Even that-
left.
nope.
Like you just not a
Nothing.
soul.
Nobody
Nobody.
needed to know. And because I felt like this was a journey that I was on for a reason. Like
Right.
that I got my
Did you
best
feel
songs
ashamed
out
of that or anything? in any
It
way?
was kind of at one point I was very embarrassed because I was immediately upon coming out here I reached out on Instagram to people that I had looked up to, like Ricky P from Taylor Gang who works with Wiz Khalifa. He actually gave me my first assisting job. He was looking for an assistant on Instagram
Because you reached out.
because I reached out
That-
and we were
that
from
was
the
at
same
Kush
city.
Factory, right?
Yeah, Kush Factory. I had reached out and they gave me an assisting job. I never let them know I was homeless,
Hmm.
but I wanted to be in these environments with well-respected artists, and I wanted to be able to gain experience in the industry because I had none. So I thought maybe being that person that goes and gets you guys, your drinks or goes
Mhm.
and cleans up the studio,
In
I'm
any
absorbing
capacity.
so much knowledge. I know how to engineer now. I know how to do these things now.
With the level of belief that you had in yourself, was there ever any sense of like, okay, if this doesn't work out in the next 3 years, then this is I'm gonna move back home, or this is gonna be my other plan? No fallback in your head.
Never.
No time constraint.
Never.
Good.
I know this is gonna work.
Yeah.
And I know in my heart this is gonna work. And I see now my family and people that all told me this is not gonna work, go home. Now they're like, oh my gosh, you're doing great. And it's
What
it's
are you
crazy.
telling yourself in those moments? I feel like when you're at your lowest and like most people turn around, pack it up and go home.
If-
What do you tell yourself?
If me at 12, 13 years old, the little girl that stood in line for 4.5 hours to see Pierce the Veil in the snow, by the way, I live in Pittsburgh. It was snowing in November. The little girl could see me now. She never would have wanted to end her own life. She never would have doubted anything that she was doing because that moment was so solidifying.
Mhm.
Now, right now, even I'm not even reached a peak of my career by any means yet, but being that I've gotten as far as I've gotten by myself
Yeah.
is crazy, and that would make me believe in myself.
And
Hell yeah.
since you use those words specifically, I do want to bring up a quote that you had said, and it's I as a black woman was finally an equal contender and really did it completely on my own. So which way in did you not feel an equal? Was it as a woman, as someone who's black, as both, and in what ways did you feel that inequality?
Well, genuinely as both. As women, as a woman, it's already hard enough. As a black woman, we're asking an impossible acceptance at one point. We are women that I feel are very underestimated, and we're very kind of looked over in a lot of environments. And now I feel like I'm a position. There's a lot more women like me who are, tiny little girls over here just trying to make their dreams come true. And I want to be an example for those women because I come from a place that I wasn't even fully able to acknowledge my own identity, my own racial identity, until I came somewhere where there was more people like me. Because again, I'm from very small towns.
So being that you felt like you didn't have that racial identity, and you've got illness in your family, you're traveling from place to place, where do you find all of this confidence in yourself? Because it would seem that
I have
you know,
no
yeah, you know, it would seem like that's the last thing. You know, all of that sounds soul crushing, and it would make a lot of people just kind of fold. And for you, it was just it sort of inflated you, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna rise above all of this. I'm gonna be the one that fixes this cycle of brokenness and brings comfort and security to the family. Like where did that come from?
I can tell you the exact moment where, because I was already out here when I actually found in myself that I shouldn't be worried about where I'm going. You know, my little brother at 16 years old was randomly just had a brain tumor out of nowhere. He was a star football player, promising career. He was honestly the sibling in the family that everyone was like, that's the one. You know, I wasn't me. I was the one with 7 face tattoos running away to Los Angeles. My brother was the promising sibling. And all of that was stripped away from him. He's now wheelchair bound. We're still in recovery and worried if it's going to come back and in a really hard state. He's lost all motor ability. He's lost the ability to play the sport that he loves, and that was going to change his life. And seeing that happen to somebody before they even graduate high school, before their life is in front of them, let me know that I have it easy. So if I'm sleeping in my car, at least I'm sleeping in a car. At least I'm able to get up and walk out of that car.
Right.
So I will never, there was not one day that goes by that I don't do something for my career, that I don't post or I don't engage with fans or I don't give someone some sort of hope, because we could lose all of that at any moment.
Yeah, and I have to commend you for that, because
Yeah.
that's not an easy thing to kind of pick yourself up at the bootstraps when you have all of that kind of against you. And still feel like I have a sense of responsibility to my family, to the world, to show up.
And to yourself.
And
you
to
know,
myself,
it's
just
like
to let
there.
me know that I can do it. Because
Yeah.
I've had everybody tell me I can't do it or come back or maybe in a couple years or, you know, and now I'm finally at a point where it's like, oh no, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
There's kids that message me every day that your song has saved my life, and that's all I do it for. I don't need a award. I don't need millions of dollars. I don't really need any of that. I just want people to be able to reach out to me and say, this song helped me through this. And as long as I do that to at least one person, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to play some of your music and get the
Yay.
audience acquainted with what's going on here. So I was thinking we would start with Mood, if that's okay with you. Because
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Because I figured, you know, about a young girl in LA trying to navigate the industry. It's very appropriate to.
That was really, you got that on point. Good job.
All right, thank you. All right, well, let's check out Mood by Keyawna Nikole.
Makes me sick, where everyone lacks confidence. You're a star. And I've tried to reciprocate, but you know you're too complicated. You are. If I
song is a mood. I love it.
My closet.
You made that in your closet?
Yes, this was before. That was before I had like any team, any production, anything. And I made
That's
that
so
song
good.
in my closet.
You played the instruments and stuff?
No,
or-
we sampled it.
sample.
I sampled.
That's so good.
Where
That's
did
so good though.
Where did you meet your first engineer, Javi Marzales?
Javi! So, funny story. Javi was engineering for an artist that had hit me up on Instagram. Was like, I like your voice. I'd love to do a feature with you. Him, again, not knowing I was homeless, you know? So I would love to do a feature with you. I need to eat today.
Where had he heard your voice?
I think we did a showcase. I think it was like a Melrose showcase that was going on.
And you were just basically trying to find
was
any place you
anywhere.
could to perform
Yeah.
so that people could see you.
Anywhere. I've performed in warehouses. I've performed on a crate box of apple crate boxes. Like, I've performed in some crazy places. And they heard me at a showcase that they were also playing. And he was like, oh, I like you. Let's connect. So I got a text a couple days later. And they're like, hi, we're at our friend Javi's house. He's my engineer. Why don't you come by? And I was like, all right, cool. So I pulled up in my Kia that I was living in. And Javi came down to find me parking. So we do the session. It goes great. Javi walks me down. He looks at me and he goes, are you sleeping in your car? And I was like,
Did your heart just drop?
I literally, like, my eyes welled up
Yeah.
with tears. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I know you don't know me. I'm not trying to be a creepy stranger, because I just met this man literally 4 hours prior.
And when you first got to LA, you
And I
were
first
robbed.
got to
the
LA and I was
instant
robbed. So
you
I don't
got
trust anyone.
here,
I would
so-
rather sleep in my car.
Right.
And he was like, I have, my girlfriend lives here too. Not trying to give you any weird vibes, but if you would like to stay on the couch, you are more than welcome to stay on the couch. He was like, I got a good vibe from you. Your energy's good. There's plenty of room. Why don't you stay here? I ended up staying at Hobbies for like 3.5, 4 months
Wow.
and getting on my feet. And
That's amazing.
this stranger, this angel, I love Javi. Javi is my angel. I talk to Javi every day.
That's
And he's so proud of me. All of my early music he helped me do. And then I had him and Ricky around the same time because I was going to work for Ricky.
So Ricky, you said you met as a result of Instagram. Was
Yes.
that at Javi's direction that you should be
No.
reaching out to people? That...
No, I had reached out beforehand.
Wow. Okay. So did you reach out to a whole bunch of different people, and you were hoping that something would stick?
Everybody. I reached out to everyone from SoundCloud
the
rappers.
whole-
And
Hold
what,
the
what
email.
what was your line?
It was like, hi, I'm Keyawna Nikole, and I would love to help you in your career. If you need anything from assistant work, if you need anything from, like, I'll do anything. Like, if you need it, I got it.
Right. You were just looking for any sort of a
Any
foot in the
sort
door.
of work. And it was less of, I wasn't even looking for income. Because when I went with Ricky and I was still, homeless, I was still living in my car, I told him, I was like, I will take half of a paycheck if at the end of the night you will record me.
Mm.
And that was our agreement. I was like, you can pay me half and I'll put the other half into studio time with you, because this is a Grammy winning and multi-nominated producer and engineer that I could never afford at
Right.
this moment.
Damn.
And he took me up on that. We have tapes, we have projects, we have albums, we have so much work together that without him, I never would have found that ability in myself that I can sing.
The belief in yourself is so inspiring. I have to say, it's wild. From a logistical standpoint, maybe this is a silly question, but how do you sleep in your car for as long as you did? Because it's illegal to sleep in your car in certain places, as I understand it, and
Absolutely.
in all the movie films, you got the cop knocking on the window. Hey, you can't park
happened.
here.
It's
so
happened.
where do you sleep?
I was.
And were you being woken every couple of hours? Like, how does that work?
I've been woken up a couple times. One time, the parking meter guy came and knocked on my window, woke me up, and then gave me the ticket.
What
And
a
that
bastard!
hurt my soul.
Come on, man.
That hurt my soul. I was like, sir, you know I can't pay for this right now.
You know, that's a person that just is angry with life.
I was genuinely, I would park on Melrose a lot. The Dream Hotel on Melrose, which was an old telenovela hotel, they loved me. So they would cut me little 25% offs
Hey,
and
that's
stuff
cool.
and would let me park. I just started, making relationships with
Yeah.
people naturally. My favorite though, which now I can tell this because I'll never do it again, guys, I promise. I was in my car and I saw this girl that actually looked just like me, identical to me. She was outside and she was smoking. Now, mind you, again, I'm 18. I wasn't old enough to go into any of the dispensaries and stuff. So I walked up to her and I was like, "Hi, listen, I have $30. If you buy yourself something, will you go in and buy me something?"
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Of course." She goes in, she comes out. We sit in my car and we're smoking and we just start talking. Now, I'm again, more strangers in LA, you know. You should have learned from the first experience.
Right.
But I'm sitting talking to her and she's telling me about her life and her situation she's going through. And she is an employee at the Salon Republic. Right?
Okay.
Now, mind you, this is like mid-hobby time. I'm not trying to be at
I'm
hobbies all
nervous.
the time. She was like, "My boss has been letting me stay in the salon office because of, you know, whatever I'm going through at home." I was like, "Great." She was like, "Why don't you just stay with me?" So we were living in Salon Republic.
That's wow.
Now, mind you, for a girl, that's everything we could ever need.
Yeah,
we had
right.
saunas, we had hair supplies, we had makeup mirrors, we had reclining massage beds. I was living in luxury. But we did that too for a while. And she was another one that was helping me, you know, make music. She was a singer and we were just connecting. And we did that for a couple weeks.
So before
That's
that,
so
that's
interesting.
crazy. Before
That's
that,
so
before Javi's, was there a point at which you found yourself in your car saying, "I don't know how much longer I can do this," or that never you never
I
felt
was-
like giving up?
I was more afraid of going home and telling my family I failed
Yeah.
than because they at that point they didn't believe in me. They did not believe that I could do what I'm doing now. Now my mom calls me every day. "I'm so proud of you. I can't believe it. I just saw you in the Source magazine."
Yeah.
Like, you know, but then I didn't want to go home with my tail between my legs. I drove 72 hours straight here. I'm not making that drive back.
Right.
Thinking that 72 hours, what could have been, and I failed. That was more of a fear to me. So anytime I'd cry myself to sleep in the car or wake up super hot and sticky, because if you ever woke up in a car in the middle of July in Los
Your
Angeles,
face against the leather of
it's
the
not
seat.
comfortable. It's not a comfortable
No.
thing. But that was more of a fear, is going home and saying I failed and having to go work at a gas station. Mind you, I've already tattooed my face now like
Right.
3 times,
Right.
and she hadn't seen those either.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I wasn't going home.
Yeah.
Right. Never again.
It wasn't happening.
I want to go back to a couple of more quotes from you. This one I just love. "I'm trying to be as famous as Jesus Christ." Who was his publicist? I'm trying to figure that shit out too, because
I have to stop tweeting late at night.
if you figure out who Jesus Christ's publicist was, and you know what, he doesn't always get the best rap, so I don't know that that's the best publicist for you, but you know. No, I did love that quote. The next one is very appropriate after what you just said about someone should stop you. "I don't tweet because if I said what I really wanted to say, you guys would have me 5150.
Absolutely. And that goes.
So at least in the late night tweets, you're aware.
I'm well aware I'm absolutely insane. And that's the other thing.
You know, obviously, you know, you joke about that, but are there things that you feel that as someone that wants to have a certain brand or a certain image, you know, even with the face tattoos, even
Yes.
though like you live this punk rock lifestyle, I'm sure that from a publicity standpoint, there are certain things that you're aware of. Do you ever feel like you have to censor yourself in any way? And all the time.
All the time.
She's
But
like,
no,
I'm censoring myself right now.
That's the
David.
thing. But that's the thing,
You should
though.
hear what's really going on in my
You
head.
should hear what the voices are saying.
Yeah.
But
I want to hear. Tell us.
but no, the thing for me
Whisper
is
into the mic. No one can hear it but us.
my biggest thing was I'm well aware that I've gone through a lot of trauma. You
really have.
You don't get to this point, I feel like, unless you've had a lot of emotional or family or life trauma. I've had all of the above. So there's a lot there. But I genuinely feel like as somebody that does battle depression, I do battle a mood disorder. I do, you know, my late night tweets are quite unhinged. I do battle that with myself, but I would rather, instead of having to mask it all the time,
Yeah.
I would rather be able to publicly be the one to tell you first.
Yeah.
Be like, it's okay to be that way. It's okay to feel that way. You should not feel like you have to mask yourself for the approval of others. Now, mind you, you shouldn't be going out doing some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? But there's a fine line. You don't have to mask or be ashamed of what you're going through mentally. I was more ashamed of what I was going through physically and my living situation than I was acknowledging that I am somebody with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
And I think that kind of ties into like the first place we met at, which was Sound Mind.
Yes.
Which is a great organization to help artists, you know,
Yes.
get resources to have mental health help, and I think, I'll be open to say I battle depression myself too. So I think it's amazing to be able to speak about it. And do you think art is what helps you overcome that?
Yeah,
or are you
absolutely. I feel like I would be an absolute mess if I wasn't able to get out what I needed to say through music. If I wasn't able to let people know it's okay to feel this way through music. Like the song that did the best for me, I'm over here telling you, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? Nobody else that's listening to that song is okay, either.
Right.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's kind of hard though, like being depressed. How do you even get it to the point to like make music or not be afraid to show your feelings or like, I think that's been a hard thing for me as an artist to show my feeling because I'm ashamed or I'm afraid of what people think because of the depression. It's like a vicious circle.
It's a vicious cycle. I have songs that I've terrified to show people because I'm afraid that it's telling too much, And then it's come to a fact when I bring them out to people and they're like, I completely understand. It's like an awakening for me every time. I wake up every day to a message from somebody that I was terrified to put secrets out because I felt like I was saying way too much.
It's a great song, by the way. We're going to play it shortly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But I was afraid I was saying way too much about what I was personally going through in that moment. When that song came out, I was living everything that song is saying in that moment. I was terrified people were going to figure out that the happy-go-lucky, jokey person, like a lot of my jokes are fueled from things that I'm still processing. So I was afraid that people would realize, oh, maybe she's not as strong as she puts out. But really, in retrospect, it made me feel that I was stronger than I even thought I was because I was able to acknowledge those feelings. I was able to acknowledge what I was going through.
With the weight of responsibility that you kind of said that you felt to support your family and become successful in that light, and how much you put into your self-belief and all of that, do you ever feel a sense of resentment towards people that want to just make it big in the industry and don't really like put in that time and effort, don't really cultivate songs that mean anything? It's just about appealing to a certain demographic. Like it seems like your blood, sweat, and tears goes into everything that you do, and there are a lot of people that are just looking for that quick road.
Yeah, and I've dealt with that for years. I've seen people that I'm even close to or I looked up to acknowledge me and then go use something that I did, And it used to hurt, because I'll be completely honest. That used to hurt. That used to, like, if someone would just give me my shot, that's how it used to feel. But then I started acknowledging the fact that this is a business. So I'm never going to hate on anybody that's also in the same business, because this is a business. If you make it, whether it was for the right reasons or not, congratulations, and I'm glad you got here. I know what I'm doing it for, and that's enough for me to acknowledge. And
I love that.
That's a great attitude
I love
to
that.
have.
Thank you.
That's like the best answer I think I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
That's really good.
Pretty good.
It's genuine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna be like, oh,
Yeah.
your dad put you here. I wish my dad put me here.
Yeah, no shit.
Congratulations.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes when it comes to nepotism, it's like you still have to be good enough to stay there, right? Because
Absolutely.
the world
Yeah.
will find any reason to shit on you and tear you apart. So if you're not supposed to be there, they'll bring you down a peg.
I get called 6ix9ine's little sister on a daily on TikTok. Don't worry. I know they will rip you apart. I cried over a 12-year-old's comment last week. Don't worry.
Everyone will find a way to rip you down. That being said, going back to another one of your quotes, 1.2 million views, which bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Hell yeah.
It was my
That's
first
amazing.
Now I think it's like 1.4.
It's 1.4.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick. 1.2 million views, now 1.4. Can you guys just take a second and like and comment for me? I put everything into making this dream come true. Support is free. Now, that's a
Damn right it is.
damn right it is.
Yeah.
Support
And-
is free. You
Support
don't need
is
to
free.
buy
And-
anything from me.
No,
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful sentiment.
Unless you like my t-shirts. Shameless self-promo.
Ooh, I'll buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, I'll buy a t-shirt too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. We'll wear it on next show.
Yeah.
I got you. You guys don't have to buy them. You had me on the show. I got
No,
you.
I want-
Oh,
We want to
them.
support
We want
you.
to buy
Yeah,
them.
Yeah. But no, you're absolutely right. Support is free. And, I've talked about this before on the show. There was 3 years in which I was making sketch comedy videos every Monday for 3 years. So
Can
there's
we do that together?
They were
Let's
trash.
just do
You
that.
don't want to work.
Shut
with
up.
them.
Okay, my comedy is not funny either.
No,
It's actually really dark.
Let's make I love dark comedy. So
Let's
that's
do-
perfect.
We're in business.
We're making a video.
Side project.
We're making a video. But I definitely experienced that where it's like you know, I'm looking at my friends and family. I'm like, come on, it's so easy to just press the fucking share button.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, why can't you like this post?
Absolutely.
Why can't you take 3 seconds to watch half of it?
Absolutely.
Just half. And you know what? If you're bored at that point, shut it off. But you might laugh. And it's like, so even your nearest and dearest sometimes disappoint you in that way. Why do you think it's so difficult for people to just show up, even for the people that they care about, in the smallest ways?
Sometimes I feel like there is not only a retrospective shame, like when people aren't supporting someone that in their head they feel should be supporting them because we're supposed to genuinely care about each other. I feel that on the other end of that, those people are like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this. You know, I can't believe this is even working. And when
Sense
it
of
works,
jealousy.
then they're even more recluse back to not engage with you because now they're like, oh, I should have engaged earlier. Now they're going to notice or, you know, and I feel like it's just it's human nature. People envy what they don't have. I want what I don't have. You know, it's a human nature thing.
Right. And that's why it's so remarkable, to quote you again, when you know, when you talk about human nature is to be that way and to have that attitude. I want to be a living, breathing example of no matter how hard it gets and no matter how many people tell you can't do it, never stop following your dreams. And some people, when they go through what you've gone through, they're
such a
not
good point.
concerned about sharing their message, about uplifting others, about making sure that everyone feels like they have a place also. It's more about, you know what, I found my way. Fuck all y'all. I made it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's beautiful that you held on to that sense of being humble and caring that someone else that might be going through something that you went through in this similar capacity, you know, it feels like they are heard and seen.
And my biggest thing about that specific quote was, and I don't know if you noticed, living and breathing example. Because a lot of my examples, except for obviously the people we've already named, are no longer living and breathing. And I feel like that also is a big aspect in things where I want to be somebody that at any moment a fan can feel that they could reach out to me and I'm going to answer you. You know, I'm going to give you advice. I'm going to be there for you. My music will be there for you if I physically can't be there for you. You know, and that's
wonderful.
the goal.
To give people that access
Yeah.
is even so special.
I spend hours a day just replying to people because the fact that you guys took the time to even look at me, it means everything.
Okay,
to me.
so get this, right? We're sitting at dinner, and Dave tells me that, you know, he met you, you're amazing, we should have you on the show. He's like, let's reach out through Instagram. I'm like, she's got 231,000
now
followers.
Instagram does get in the way,
but you
I do
responded
take the time
within like
I do
15
take
minutes,
the
and I
time.
was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
You
you're like,
"See, man?"
there's no way she's gonna
It's
answer.
so
I was like,
annoying,
dude,
too.
she was cool, man.
I keep my phone, I keep my notifications on, which is very annoying because
I actually
going
turned them
up
off recently because it
24,000
sucked.
hours.
Yeah.
But I do keep my notifications on for direct messages because it's stuff like that. I've gotten my best opportunities off of an Instagram DM.
Right.
And I've also seen artists way bigger than me lose opportunities off of not seeing an Instagram DM. So I'm going to check.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go
That's
back to the
pretty
Instagram
interesting.
DMs. Let's go back to Ricky P. Okay, so you reach out to a bunch of people. You kind of say, in whatever capacity you need me, I'm here.
Mhm.
Ricky P reaches out and says, what? I need an assistant.
He said,
Show
no,
up.
he said, come through the studio.
Okay.
So I pulled up.
And you had no idea why you
No
were going.
idea.
It was just, you know what? He said to come,
He
I'm
said to come,
coming,
I'm
and whatever
going.
happens, happens. Okay.
At least my mom got my location.
Right.
3,000 miles away.
Right.
But
She doesn't
I'm
know it's the
going.
inside of my car, but
Doesn't
she
know.
knows where I am.
Where I am. So I go, and what else did I have to do? Honestly, I needed to use the bathroom. There's a bathroom in there.
Right.
So I pulled up.
Facilities.
I have to pee, and it's really hard to pee outside as a girl. Trust me.
Yeah.
So I go, and we ended up making a song that night that he ended up putting on his SoundCloud.
Wow.
Yeah, we were just talking, and he was like, well, what can you do? And I was like, I can sing. And he was like, let's see if you can sing. Go in there.
Wow.
And he put me on the spot. And we
Put
ended
your
up,
money where your mouth
we
is.
made a song that I still to this day,
Did you
bum,
get
I
nervous,
love this.
or you're
So
just
nervous.
like, fuck
I
yeah,
was
this is the
so
opportunity?
nervous, but I was like, this man is a Grammy winning, so I know he's got some auto tune. We're gonna make this work.
Yeah.
and to a certain respect, was that ever a mantra in your head? Like, you know, because they say luck is hard work meeting opportunity.
Yes.
So you have to be ready for that moment. We've
Yeah.
talked about that before on the show. Was there any sense of that in your head of like, okay, when I get my shot, I'm going to be ready?
That was always in my head, but mind you, I had no preparation.
Right.
Because I had none other than myself. I was recording songs in my car with like a little mic like this, so it was sounding very spacey.
Right.
But I didn't really have professional studio etiquette, professional studio experience. So I was really sitting there absorbing all of that
Sure.
in that moment. And then he told me to get in the booth. Thought I was gonna throw up.
So when he tells you to get into the booth, did you have any sort of original song already crafted, or were you
So
going to
he
do
was
something
making
like...
a beat and he was making his own song. And he was like, I need a female on this. You can sing, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, hop in there. Let's see what you got. And I just made it up.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, okay, this
Completely
is
on
what I'm
the
going to
spot,
sing.
yeah.
This is how I'm feeling. And he was like, I love this. Ended up dropping it as a birthday present for me on his SoundCloud on my birthday.
That's awesome.
That's unbelievable.
And that was pretty dope. And I was working for him every day at that point. Like I was cleaning, I was in the sessions, and then it got to a point where his artists that were coming in were artists like Trippie Redd and Tory Lanez and Wiz Khalifa and all of these people. He was
and you're like, where am I?
I was like, what is going on? I'm in my pajamas, mopping. And he was like, oh, this is my artist instead of this is my assistant.
Right.
He gave me a respect level to these men because something I was very vocal to him about was
I'm an artist.
I'm an artist. I want to be, and I'm a woman. And women artists are they're not respected. We're not respected. We are not a respected community. And I want to go in with respect value. All of these men respect you.
Mm-hmm.
Please grant me that same respect, whether it's through you. I know they respected him over they respected me, but they respect him.
And that's really wonderful too for you to advocate for yourself in that way, because
Absolutely.
you know part of getting that respect is speaking up and saying,
Yeah.
you know, I deserve and demand it,
And
and that's great that you did.
He taught me that. He really taught me that they are going to respect you when you give them something to show respect towards, you know?
So when you meet people like Tory Lanez, Wiz, Trippie Redd, what exactly do they either show you that you absorb, or you know, pieces of information and knowledge that they actually give you that kind of instill more of this idea of, oh, okay, this is how I'm going to become the artist that I
Well,
need
there
to
was
be.
plenty of time because I was always silent. I'm there to work. You know, no one even knew I made music. And a lot of the time, I was getting called into sessions to roll blunts for them. That's what I was good at. I was rolling blunts, and I was a little 20-year-old girl, look cute. Roll me a blunt, you know? Whatever. But I'm sitting in your session watching the engineer track you. I'm sitting watching what tune you're using. I'm sitting and watching what auto-tune that you need, or what auto-tune he needs, or what programs you're using. I was absorbing all of that silently. They thought I was just rolling blunts.
Yeah.
Right.
Then one day, Ricky's playing songs for his album. That, now mind you, all these artists got on his albums as well. He put me on his album. So he's playing through the album. My song comes on. They're like, who's this? I think we were in the studio at the time with Trippie at the time. Trippie or Tory, one of the two. He's like, who's this? He was like, that's her. They're like, you make music? At this point, I've been working with you guys for like 3-4 months.
Right.
You had no idea.
You've been smoking all these blunts. I've
Smoking all your blunts. Thank you for all the weed.
Right.
But it was one of those moments where I realized, like, you observe. And when you're coming into this industry, you observe. Never be in people's face. They don't.
Right.
They don't like that. Everyone and their brother's in their face.
Right.
And I had no desire to, because again, I've always been making rock and alternative. So again, these rappers would bring me no benefit. Does that make sense? Career-wise. That wasn't my goal. For me, rappers like that I love and I respect as artists, and I love their music. But my hero is Pierce the Veil. My hero is Sleeping with Sirens. My hero is The Used. My hero are these artists. So it was just a work environment for me.
How do you figure out walking the line of being vocal and advocating for yourself as an artist and as someone with talent, and also kind of biding your time and waiting for that right moment and absorbing, like you're saying? Because there is a sense of like, oh, you got to shoot your shot, but then there's also
There is, for
like
sure.
being really strategic and being like, okay, I'm just gonna sit back and wait for my moment.
You always have to think in the aspect of, if I shoot my shot right now, do I have 2 more behind me to shoot?
Right.
Now, at that time, I had one damn good song. But now, I have albums of damn good songs.
Right.
And it's at a point now where if I shoot my shot, I can hit you with another one. I can hit you with another one. I can hit you with a major feature that you didn't even know I had, you
Right.
know? And that's where you know you're ready. I wasn't ready then. I was learning. I was absorbing. Now I take things I learned from Ricky. I take things I learned from Javi. I take things I learned from Rob every day. And now I can apply that into my career because out of all those years of experience, now I know how to present myself. Now I know how to dictate myself. I know how I look crazy as hell, but I can sit down and have an educated conversation with you because I'm an educated woman.
You give me chills.
Thank
Well, she's dropping a lot of knowledge. She's telling us all the secrets, and I want to hear more secrets coming through the speakers. So let's go ahead and switch over to secrets and hear that. Right?
Well
yeah,
done,
yeah,
Dave.
not bad, right? Not a bad transition.
Good job.
Super corny. Okay, let's play Secrets by Keyawna Nikole. Check it out.
I've been counting all the steps from the bed to the sink. It's the farthest that I've got in 5 days, maybe a week. Can I tell you a secret?
Are you Kelly Quinn?
Yeah.
Can I tell
I'm
you a
not.
secret? I'll pretend that it's not eating me alive. I'll pretend that I'm doing just fine. I feel so temporary. Everybody wants the best of me. Can I tell you a secret? You promise to keep it. I feel the tide start to rise and it's drowning me. I'll pretend that it's not eating me alive. I'll pretend but my shadow takes a toll, and every time that I try to find some new peace of mind, I tear myself back down. When will it end? Please show me how. Look in the mirror and it's troubling, 'cause I can't make out the person that I know I am. I take 100 steps, each one lighter than the last. So at least I'm moving forward and I'm never turning back. I'll pretend it's not eating me alive, eating me alive. I'll pretend I'm doing just fine. I'm doing just fine.
Hell fucking yeah. I really love that song. I love how vulnerable you are on it.
I wrote that song while crying my eyes out, and it came out
I
in 10
believe it.
minutes.
Are you so proud looking back on that you actually released
What's
it?
so crazy is I didn't want to release that song.
I believe it.
I didn't
You know,
wanna
it's
release that
really
song.
giving
It's very
giving
vulnerable.
yourself to your audience, and that's hard.
It was one of those things that like I put a snippet out before Kellen was on it, and I posted it. And at the time, like Vic was very involved in my life, very involved in my career. He still is very involved in my career and my life. And I get a message, and Kellen's like, "Is anyone on this?" And I was like, "Oh my God, you're fucking Kellen Quinn. You're on it. You're on it right now." And it was just such a full circle moment because what they didn't know, and I think I just had this conversation with Vic like 3 days ago. What they didn't know at the time of like me doing this record and Kellen coming in and doing this song with me and coming for the video and sitting through a 13-hour shoot, by the way. He is a real one with happy spirits the whole time. I mean, I fed him, so he's happy. But
That's the way to a man's heart, just food. Yeah.
We had a taco truck there. I was like, no games.
Yeah.
You can get whatever you want, Kellen.
Oh.
But we were literally just at the time, they didn't know that I wouldn't even be alive right now if they didn't have a show November 12th of 2012 for me to look forward to. And that is how I got myself through my high school years, my early college years, was I would plan a concert every month.
Something to look forward to. Yeah.
So I wouldn't kill myself. And the thing was, I was so young when I went to that first concert, first time going to a concert without my mom. The only reason I got to go to that concert is because my grandfather took his own life the month before. And I went completely mute because I was there. And I went completely mute. I wouldn't speak. My mom was scared. She tried to take me to therapist because she's like, my daughter's not speaking. And the only thing that made me speak was she bought me tickets to Pierce the Veil and Sleeping with Sirens. And Tonight Alive and Hands Like Houses.
And was that the very concert where you were told you're going to be a rock star?
That was the day I was told I was going to be a rock star. Wow. And now fast forward again to that date. 10 years later, Vic is sitting in my living room shooting a TikTok with me. And it was just one of those universal, because it wasn't even just, oh, this happened years later. No, it to the date every time. And it was like, this was meant to happen. All of that was meant
November
to happen.
12th.
Everything I went through was meant to happen. So I could be here now. So and now I'm here standing on set where they just built me a forest in the middle of a production studio with Kellen Quinn playing guitar beside me, trying to make me laugh because I can't stop crying over the fact that we're sitting here right now together. It was hilarious. And every eye contact scene we had, I couldn't stop giggling like the 12-year-old girl that was like in love with this man as a child. So
and that's why it's so good that in the video it's like, are you?
That's how that's what it was. Because I was still in shock. I was like, you're really here. Like,
and what I really love about your music too is I feel like right now in the past couple of years, and we've had a lot of great new artists on, singer-songwriters, we're seeing like a rebirth of the storyteller and of real instances in people's lives and not just fluffy bullshit.
No.
And you know, with punk music, with emo music, you do have an easy propensity to be able to lean into like just like the angsty, you know, whatever. But like your songs are so real and they're so raw, and it's fucking cool.
I'm genuinely grateful that I'm doing it now when I am, because I was lucky enough to have been a fan of all of these bands. Genuinely, I was at the Warped Tours. I was a fan, and I was able to absorb that knowledge of where they were coming musically, how they were feeling, and now I'm also able to reproduce that same knowledge. And I'm giving oath to all of these bands. Like that's 100%. Why like I'm acknowledging these bands. Like
keeping it
I'm
going.
Keeping it, I want to keep it going, because without them I wouldn't be here. And that's genuine. No therapist, no medication, no doctor's appointment could fix. But a Pierce the Veil album, and a Sleeping with Sirens album, and a The Used album, and a My Chemical Romance album, those albums fixed me.
The power of art, and that's so cool.
And I want to acknowledge that always.
Yeah. And so now you're signed to Done Deal Management, is that right?
Well, they're like managing me.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and Rob Cavallo is involved with that, which
he's producing.
Right, and he was the CEO and chairman of Warner Music. Done Deal is kind of his new venture that's supporting artists, and he's worked with the likes of Green Day, Linkin Park, My Chemical Romance, Eric Clapton. So is that like a surreal moment for you? Along the way, all of these things sound like they've all been surreal, but
it's like
is that again like a surreal moment for you to be working with someone that, you know, has worked directly with all of these people that inspired your musical journey?
Well, I'm an internet stalker, so I knew what he had done, and I was on my manager's ass, like, you need to get me this man.
Like we said when we started, this is premeditated. This was no mistake.
I knew I needed this man, because I'm a music connoisseur. I am a music nerd. Like, I want to know who produced it. I want to know who changed the tone on the song. I want to know all of that. So I knew that's the brains behind these records.
That's so interesting.
I wanted that brain to hear me. And at the time, I just wanted him to hear my song. I did not know
You're this like, was I just need feedback.
Gonna become the journey that it did. I just wanted him to hear me. I wanted his opinion. I didn't know that he was gonna be like, I love this, let's do this, you know?
How long ago was that?
3 months, 4 months ago? Looking off 5 months ago? 5 months ago.
That's
looking off camera for
That's unbelievable.
phone calling a guest.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And like, again, I feel like that's a moment in your story on this journey that is like giving you a nod that like you're doing the right things.
Yeah.
And again, when we sat and met the other day, you're like kind of telling me this story, and you're like, and now I'm sitting in Rob Cavala's backyard, and
Yeah,
like,
how did I
you
get
know,
here?
Yeah, it's so amazing because like all the people that you're inspired by and that you're listing, like he had a hand
Exactly.
in a majority of those people's music, and now he has a hand in your music, which is
Exactly.
incredible.
I'm wondering, is there anything along your journey now that you've kind of you're on the other side of things and you're seeing the inner workings of the industry to a certain respect? Is there anything that has surprised you, like, oh, that's the way this works?
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything. You learn that not only are you an artist, which is very, very hard to decipher the two, because there's plenty of people that are fantastic artists but don't know how to do business. I'm also one of those people. I'm learning every day how to do business. My art is also a business, and it's less about profit margins and stuff like that for me. It's more about how to correctly market my art to be seen by the people I want to feel this, you know?
And speaking specifically about marketing and art, is this still a thing that you created this marketing company for
Yes,
artists?
I did.
So tell me about that. What is it called, and what exactly is its capacity? What does it do?
So before I was like working with production and I was working with big artists and stuff like that, I was solely surviving off of the marketing that nobody wanted to provide me. Everything I was searching for, how do I get up on a billboard? How do I do this? How do I get people to listen to my music? No one wanted to provide me that information, so I seeked it out myself. I ended up having a fan who ran a billboard company. So I started working for them in exchange for meeting me because they loved my music. They just wanted to meet me. They're like, we're going to put you up in Times Square. I was like, okay, creepy. There's no way. And he did it. And I was like, all right, buddy.
Holy shit.
How do we do this together?
Yeah.
And we started a business. Now I do billboards nationwide for all sorts of artists and all sorts of companies. It's mainly companies. You know, I love me and my independent artists, so I'll hook them up. But when it comes to the companies, let's go. But I started doing all of this, and I put all of the money I was making just directly into my career because, again, I didn't have management then. I did not have a team. I only had, this is what I'm making from my job, so I'm going to go spend it on a music video.
Yeah, and yeah, I do want to touch on that because I did see that, you know, you were quoted as saying you went from being homeless in your car to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket on your own music videos.
That's so
I
cool.
mean, that must be such a moment of pride to have accomplished that and to look back on that and say, wow, I've come such a long way.
I was very proud of myself eating ramen for the next 3 months. Trust me, I was cheesing. I didn't even care.
Once the money started to come, did you find a sense of, okay, I now respect money so much more because I know what it's like not to have it? So you were conscious of how you were spending, or did you just go?
No. I started respecting money so much more after I spent it all.
Yeah. What's the
Having
first
it and then spending
What was
it.
the first big purchase outside of investing in your career?
The only like nice thing I got myself?
Yeah.
Where's my purse?
Where's my purse?
It's in my purse. I got myself a nice Audemars Piguet watch
Hell
because my dad and my brother collected watches, right?
Okay.
And I'm a girl, you
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah,
girls aren't a part of the collections, you know.
And you're like,
I
ha!
was like, my watch is more than yours, Dad.
Love it. Oh, there's the
There's
purse.
the purse.
I'll grab
Yes.
Awesome.
it. But this is
Prada.
I am not. Yeah. I
Yeah.
did give me a Prada purse.
That's
too.
right.
And I got these shoes.
You kind of have to.
You gotta do
I
something.
like those Balenciagas. Those are sick
That
shoes.
Triple S Gucci collab. Me and Lil Uzi Vert are the only people that got them.
Nice.
Wow.
But I got myself this watch.
Yeah, that's sweet. I saw you wearing that the other day. I thought it was
Oh
awesome.
wow. So that's all real, huh?
Yeah. It was a dumb purchase. I don't acknowledge. I don't.
I think it's
not
fucking
dumb.
cool.
You don't-
It's a
Yeah.
man watch.
So
It doesn't even fit
what?
my wrist because it's so big,
It's
and they
so
took
cool.
out. They took out as many little
As they
things
could.
but my wrist is still too small. But the girl watches are tiny.
It looks sweet.
I want a boy watch.
Yeah.
That's boss as
tight.
fuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
That's tight.
cool.
You know, it gives you some respect when you walk into the business agreement. They look down. They're like, oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
Rolex
shit,
is a
she's
little
serious.
outdated.
Yeah.
We have taken up so much of your time. I'm so appreciative for you having been here. If there's one thing that you could leave with artists that are trying to make it, you've dropped so much knowledge in terms of just believing in yourself and having the faith to go on when all of the odds are against you. But I don't know if there's anything that we left off the table that you might give as a piece of advice.
It is okay to not feel okay. At any time that you don't feel okay, don't let someone make you feel like you're in the wrong for that. I want every artist that's pursuing their dream to never stop dropping their stuff. Never be afraid. I don't care if it's getting 10 views. I don't care if it's getting 100 views. And I don't care if it's getting 1,000,000 views. Keep dropping your music if that's what brings your soul peace, because one day it's going to fall into place for you. It might not be today, and it might not be tomorrow. It might not be next year. But maybe 4 years from now, and from when you're 18 to 25, and now you end up in the positions that you wanted to be in, it's all going to be worth it. And every single song you've dropped in that process is telling that storyline, marking that storyline. Don't hoard your music.
Yeah.
That's all I have for you guys. Do not hoard your music.
I love that, and I think to echo that, you talk about just keep doing it, and there is so much power in being consistent.
Consistency is key.
And yeah, I think just continuing to show up. You talk about in Secrets that even with all of this pain, each of these little steps is still a step forward, and you're still moving forward and keeping that movement going, and that's what it's about, just keeping pushing through.
It's really just acknowledging too, like, I'm pretending to be okay when I'm not. That's what I'm the best at. And now I'm acknowledging when I'm not okay, and that's the growth.
Yeah.
So getting to that point, releasing your music, feeling confident in yourself.
I love
all you
that.
can do.
And we truly appreciate you, and you're quite an inspiration.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
and
appreciate
And
you.
you're living so close to your truth, and I think
So
that's like
good.
the goal is like as
Walking
an
your
artist
true path.
walking your true path, and
Yep.
like I think you're inspiring a lot of
Thank
people.
you.
And the last quote of yours that I want to leave everyone with is 2025. I'll have my own Grammy. Watch me.
Let's
And I'm watching and I'm rooting. And
Let's
I
go.
know Dave's watching and Dave's rooting.
And I'm telling you right now, I will be wearing every band T-shirt that I ever had. Every band T-shirt.
All at once?
Every band I cared about. Yeah, I'm going to make them into a dress.
Oh,
that's
I'm
sweet.
going to have it cut up into a dress with flannel underlay. And I'm
That's
quoting me now.
super cool.
Grammys 2025.
Hell
we will be
yeah.
there.
Let's go.
let's manifest
that.
it. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you to our lovely audience for sitting in. Couldn't do this without you. Appreciate your support. This has been another Sapo Saturday.
Zoom.
And we will see you next time. Sapo Studios, out.
Much love.